So today I was like, I'm going to draw hands like Leonardo Da Vinci. So I found this one online and I'm going to try to draw it. So I don't know how well it'll look. We'll give it a try. I found that usually when drawing anything that Leonardo da Vinci has drawn, it's way more complex than it looks. So let's give it a try. Okay, so I got my copied paper and my number 2 pencil with a little eraser on the end of it, and I'll just give it a try. Here we go. So I'm using my left hand to kind of help me with measurements, where parts are. I have no idea how that works exactly, but I just sort of trace around the finger and the thumb and how much gap there is, and sort of measure that. And you can try this too if you want to. It's sort of helping me to figure out where I'm going to put all these parts. I'm on the outside part of the hand right now. Hopefully I'll get it. This one doesn't look too terrible, but it's a bit clunky. But I'll probably go on and draw some hands in other positions after I draw this one. I put quite a bit of time into this. I think that's my number one thing I want to tell students is put a lot of time into your artwork. I am so tired of seeing where students just barely do put any effort into their artwork. They're done within a couple minutes, usually seconds, and then they're like, well, that's perfect. I had one student show me where they said they drew something, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't something they drew because it looked like it was traced. I'm not going to go into it, but you can tell the difference between when somebody traces a work of art and when they are drawing it. Now I'm drawing this one, you can tell, because right now I am thinking those fingers are just too long. There's just no way this is going to work. But it does sort of work. I keep working on it, and eventually I get it to look pretty decent. It just takes time. So I'll keep working on it. You just have to bear with it. Drawing the second finger in there. Now the third one back, it's a little strange. I'm thinking that thumb is way too long. So I'm going to fix it. Maybe the whole hand is a bit long. Usually after I draw work like this, it takes me, I want to call it work of art, after I draw something. Usually it takes me hours to a day to, after I've finished drawing it, to just look at it and go, okay, that looks alright, and it's still clunky. You know, it's still going to be clunky. There's still room for improvement no matter what I've done to it. But how bad it really is, it takes a while for it to soak in for me. But when looking at this, it's fairly long. Now I think I do have that thumb out there a bit too long. I think I shorten it later. It's just a matter of time. So now I'm just going in and doing some shading. I was reading about his shading technique, and I think I'm pronouncing this right. Sfumato. Sounds like tomato, but Sfumato, and that's his blending technique for how he does his work. I'm not there yet for the way he did it. Of course, I'm only using a number 2 pencil, so I'm going to be limited. I can't get as dark as he did with that value range, because I'm working with the same kind of materials most of my students have. I mean, it'd be nice to say, hey, you know what, it'd be great if they had a bunch of different pencils and better paper, but that's all they've got. So, you know, I push this type of media as far as I can, due to the fact that a lot of my students, that's all they have to work. And I don't think it's all that bad. I mean, and don't use mechanical pencils. Mechanical pencils are terrible. Use these cheap wooden pencils. Now, if the eraser goes bad, I'll just throw that one away. I think I have one on this one that will go bad any minute now, or in a few minutes, and then I just throw away the whole pencil. Once the eraser goes bad, that pencil's gone, because these pencils are cheap to get. You can get them. I got these at Dollar Tree, and they didn't cost hardly anything. Like, I think it was $12 for $1. So I probably should have bought more boxes. I bought a bunch of different kinds, and the ones I think are the best are probably these yellow pencils with pink erasers. They're the ones I gravitate to when I'm grabbing one out of the stack, and I just think the other ones, they're just not as good. I mean, it might just be my personal belief in it, but that's my feelings. Anyway, we're back to this hand, and I really think this is a challenge. This is something I'm doing now, is I'm challenging myself to draw like the great master Leonardo Da Vinci. Will I ever manage to get my drawings to look as good as his? Probably not. But it's worth a try. So, today I drew a hand, and it looks like it's holding an arm, and the arm looks like it has a bracelet on it. So I pushed that little aspect of it just a little bit more to give it a little bit of a 3D look. Because I've done that with like pottery, you know, to push the pottery to make it look more 3D by adding more texture to it. I think I do that with this, I would say it's an arm, that they're holding their arm with their hand. I'm thinking that is an arm. I don't think I've got that thumb quite right yet, but I spent some time on this. It's going to take a little while for me to finish this one. I think I spent over 20 minutes on drawing this hand. And the reason I am just talking my way through it is I think it's important for students to see somebody just struggling to get something done that looks like what it should be. Now, I know you don't need to really actually follow the way I did this, but I do think it's important to see that I'm going to grade you based on how much effort. So here's what you're seeing right now. This is effort. I am putting in effort to get this to look like the other hand. It's effort. Will it finally look like it? I think it's not terrible, but I mean, it's not great. It has darkest darks, lightest lights, and midtones in it. So I'm working on it. I think it kind of looks like a bunch of bones right now under the skin. You can kind of see it. But I mean, I'm going to keep working on it until I get it to look a little better. I just keep looking at the original, and then I make some little changes, and then I look at the original and I make some more little changes, and eventually it might actually look like it. But that's how you do this, is you just jump right in there and you start working on it and shading it and bringing out your highlights with your eraser, and then if you want more midtones, just smudge it some more. You may have to clean off the end of your eraser and or get another eraser. Buy a whole bunch of boxes of pencils. You can get a bunch of them for a few dollars. And just buy these regular pencils, standard number 2 pencils. I don't think you can put much weight on a mechanical pencil without it breaking. So I'm not a big fan of mechanical pencils. But anyway, I digress. We're back now looking at me drawing this hand. And I am on the struggle here to get this done. But I want it to work out, so I'm going to push myself as much as I can to draw this hand and see if I can't draw it, make it look right. Now I'm going to draw some more faces too, but I wanted to take a break, just at least a few days or one day. I wanted to draw a face today, a different one, from a different angle, and see how I could do that one. Faces though, they take a lot of practice, so I might have to do 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 of just one of them to get to look right. Then after that, I think I can crank out more of them. But I have to, it's like a learning process. So like I've said, why do I do this? I want to learn how he drew hands. I don't think I'm quite there yet, but I'm really trying to understand how Leonardo da Vinci drew the hand in his artwork. Now, a lot of people, when they're drawing artwork, they have trouble drawing a hand. This is what I recommend. You pull up some of Leonardo da Vinci's drawings and find a hand or pictures where he drew hands. He drew hands because he knew they were hard to draw, and so he practiced at drawing hands, and he got really good at it. I mean, he was probably good, better than most of us are anyway. There's things about him. I mean, he dissected corpses at a time in history when it was terribly illegal to do so. I think he could get burned at the stake. But I mean, that's how he learned anatomy. So he did this, and he understands the bones and the muscles in the hand. I haven't done that. I don't have that understanding. I'm just trying to copy the outer part of his drawing. So, and what you're going to do is you're going to do the same, because I'm fairly certain other artists who copied him did the same thing. They didn't go into a big understanding of anatomy like by dissecting corpses. They most likely just copied Leonardo da Vinci and copied artists who copied Leonardo da Vinci, and they copied the people who copied them. And so this is how it was taught, was through this person draws and paints really well, I'm going to copy their style because it's really good. And that's usually the way it works in life. You know, somebody doing something that works really well, copy what they're doing. As you can see, I'm still drawing on this. And I thought about making it shorter, but I want you to see me struggling on it, because I get tired of seeing people just barely working on drawing and not putting much effort into it. So that's why you hear me right now talking about it and still drawing it, because I'm just sticking with it. When I get it done, even if it looks clunky, I'll still say, wow, I really put effort into that when I'm done with it. And that's what I'm looking to do with this work of art. It's coming along. Is it done yet? No. But it's looking better. What bothered me was the back of the hand. I mean, I'm like, okay, I got to get these other parts right. But then I'm looking at it, and the hand toward the back part, you have to get that just right. And I think it was a bit narrow. And I don't want to have it not look right, so I just keep working on it. Keep working on it, and finally I do think it looks a little better. I'm trying to bring out some highlights right now. And it's not easy, but you just have to struggle with this if you're just drawing it. It's what I'm doing, and you don't give up. So I think anybody can do this. You just have to sit down and just put yourself to doing it. I'm comparing them. I mean, there's a lot of problems there, but it's better. So here I'm gonna break and look at it and see how close it is. I think it's not quite right toward just the top of the hand. I think the fingers aren't terrible, but just that top section where the bones of the top of your hand run back with the tendons, I don't think that's quite right. So I'm trying to put in my highlights where he has his, and maybe that'll help some. I think I stopped this video like 3 to 4 times just to check where I put in different parts of that. So just compare your drawing, turn it around and around. And you may not get it to look just like what he did, but all I'm looking forward to seeing in your drawing is that you put a lot of effort into it. And maybe you don't know what effort is, some people don't. And because I've seen where people just trace stuff and say, I didn't trace that. And I'm like, okay, but I want to see effort in your artwork. Why did it stop? I guess it's working. There it goes. Now it's starting back up again. I thought it stopped audio dubbing. But it's still going, so that's good. I think it's where it cut. I think it looks better. Looks better now. It's still messed up. So we're up to 21 minutes now of me drawing this, and it's still yet coming along. I'm sort of a perfectionist at this kind of thing, and so if you're drawing along with me, we can just struggle together with it and see if we can't get something to come out to look like this arm. At one point I start drawing the bracelet. This looks like there's a hint of a bracelet there on the other arm that this hand is grabbing, and so I start drawing it in there. There we go. I'm like, you know what, I can see just a tiny bit of something there, so let me work on that. It's coming along. Just have to work with it. Now, I could have shortened this and you wouldn't have to suffer through watching me draw it, but I think you learn a lot by watching somebody struggle drawing something. When you watch somebody just put it in there really fast, like they were tracing something, I don't know if you learn as much from that as you do from watching somebody just struggling at drawing it. And see, here's where I made some improvements while I'm off camera, because it would take me even longer. I think that one's looking better. That's not bad, really. I mean, I'm sitting here looking at it thinking, that's not terrible. Okay? And if there's one thing you get out of this, you have to just hang with that drawing. Just work your way through it until it starts to look like something. Yeah, that's not bad. Is it as good as what he did? No, but it's way better than what it started as. And during parts of it, it was really bad, really, really bad. But I just hung in there and kept working on it. I hope you found this content informative and entertaining. I like to draw stuff upside down and hope to keep creating content like this. Thank you for your support. And please like and subscribe. You can also help support this content by going to patreon.com/artvideoinstruction. Thank you.